In this video, it's a proper return to form for Hubnut. We've had some far too exotic machinery of late, but don't worry, we're back with a diesel-powered Jeep. This is a 2010 Jeep Patriot, and obviously designed to rival things such as Land Rover Freelander, Honda CR-V, and the Mitsubishi Outlander. That being an interesting one because it effectively platform shares. So, I mean, the concept of this car is quite interesting in itself because Chrysler and Mitsubishi have got a relationship dating back to the late 70s when they started importing Mitsubishis and badging them as Dodge models for a time. But that relationship had kind of dissolved a bit by the time this came along. This was a new direction with Daimler buying Chrysler and DaimlerChrysler sort of coming up with this Jeep thing based on a Mitsubishi platform. It's actually the same platform as the Mitsubishi Lancer, so that begs the question, could you make an Evo Jeep? That'll be quite exciting. As it is, this one has a Volkswagen turbo diesel engine that we should probably take a look at. And here we go. We have a big sheet of plastic covering Volkswagen's turbo diesel engine as used in the Golf of this era, I believe. Around 150 brake horse, I think it is. Some interesting patination going on in places. I think this may have lived near the sea at some point, you know. Effectively, it still does. We're quite near the sea in Aberystwyth. But yeah, there is a diesel engine in there somewhere. But interestingly, the petrols for these were sort of jointly developed with Hyundai, or Hyundai, as I think you're meant to say it these days. 2 litre petrol, nowhere near enough. And they did a Meteor 2.4. I don't think we got the 2 litre over here, but I think we did get the 2.4 petrol, if you like turning petrol into hydrocarbons and not achieving very much. So I think the diesel is probably the pick of the lot. But it's a little agricultural in places. I think the power steering may be leaking slightly. We're not going to touch that. But otherwise, yeah, it's an engine bay. Let's just take in a bit more of the aesthetic before we jump aboard. And it has to be said, it's actually a lot bigger than you think it is, if that doesn't sound too weird. I've seen pictures of these and always thought they were quite small, but no, it is actually quite a decent size. You've got these sort of wheel arch flares and this styling around the bonnet line, hinting at the classic CJ Jeeps. But then obviously it just turns unapologetically SUV, but nice boxy shapes. So we'll see whether that turns into any form of practicality. Oh, don't look at that. Nothing to see there. I managed just to see a black plastic, just like most cars. I've just noticed there's a bit of an echo in here, which is intriguing. But yeah, I mean, the plastics are not the best. You think already American cars often have terrible interior plastics, but this was built at a time where DaimlerChrysler was investigating a whole new world of absolutely terrible interior plastics. So some of the worst cars Mercedes-Benz ever made were from this era. But in terms of driving position, the seats are quite firm, leather in this case, but it's a nice driving position. You've got that slightly higher elevated feeling where the seat base is a nice distance from the floor. Huge door mirrors, they're very impressive. Look at that. That one's slightly broken, maybe don't look at that one. And we've got a 6-speed manual gearbox. I forget where that is sourced from. But there was optional CVT in some markets, which gave proper sort of dual range type off-road ability. This has permanent 4-wheel drive, although it's permanent switchable. So most of the time it's just driving the front wheels. If it sends slippage, it can send 50% of the power to the back. Or you can lock it. Yes, I thought there was a little handle down here. 4-wheel drive lock. Although apparently it still pulses the clutch, because there's no center differential, and if you didn't do that, you'd do a tight turn on tarmac and utterly ruin your transmission. Don't know whether it still works. The limited ground clearance is the big problem here. This is not an off-road machine. This is just that typical off-roader-ish. But decent spec. We've got a nice big screen here. Air conditioning, heated seats, which you definitely want with leather. Cruise control. There are buttons on the back of the steering wheel, entirely out of view for operating the stereo. Oh, I was going to say I do like these vents, but that makes it sound like a kid's activity centre, like the finest work of Fisher-Price. Glove box, a lot of tissues in there. We won't ask questions.
Napkins.
Napkins, sorry, napkins. We've got electric mirrors, electric windows, as you might expect, and airbags variously. And we've got some center storage going on here. Oh, double dipping. Very smart. And cup holder count seems fairly decent. Were there more in the glove box lid? No, alas. But yeah, it's not bad. I quite like this style, and it puts the gear lever in a really nice place. Jumping into the back, and yeah, it's okay. It's a bit firm again, but the biggest issue, look at that. Look at the gap to my leg. This seat base is really rather short, which is a little disappointing, but plenty of knee room, good amount of space, head restraints, of course, grab handles, and 2 cup holders. No vents though. I thought maybe put some posh vents in the back. Not a bit of it, but let's go and have a look in the boot, because we've got some intriguing features. So just to remind you, Patriot. You can kind of see the target market for this car. They're really trying to man up what is kind of a school run SUV, really. But if we open up the tailgate, we've got a pretty decent amount of space. Obviously, you've got to hoik stuff up to this level to get it in, but we've got a full-size spare wheel. That's a pleasant surprise. So that's quite useful. We've got a nice factory boot liner in here. The seats fold down for more space. Oh yeah, that's the third seat belt. That looks like it's never been used. So that's so you have a 3-point belt on all seats. But the favourite feature has to be this one. When you're out partying with your friends because you're cool, because you own an SUV lifestyle vehicle, you got flip down speakers, so you can spread the sound around and really annoy people. But I like that. That's quite a cool feature. Right, we should go for a drive. Even the key manages to feel a little flimsy and cheap, and the lock, oh, and that's not good ASMR. It just doesn't feel, oh, very good. It does say Jeep when you turn it on, so you know that's posh. And we'll turn it on. I've got to put the clutch down. What are you upset about now? I think it's upset because the ABS is not working. I think that's what it was beeping about. But as you can hear, the engine is a little raucous, I'm going to say. Which is surprising because it seems to be miles away. We've got huge expanse of dashboard and then a huge expanse of bonnet. So the engine is nowhere near us, yet it sounds like it's kind of sitting next to me.
Focus or manly?
Oh, maybe it's manly to hear the engine, so you can hear that turbo. Oh yeah, performance beast. The gear change is a little on the clunky side, but I guess we should expect that from the Americans. They're not used to stick. I'm not going to get hate from all the Americans. Good job I'm not driving an American car. But if we pull away, the road manners are pretty decent. We haven't done a windscreen wiper test here. Are we ready?
One moment, we've had a crisis, folks.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at those. Those are good squirters.
Yeah, good squirters. The wiper blades, unsurprisingly, given they're rusty, a little aged, but good overlap, no triangle of doom. In fact, very good.
That's really good coverage.
Yeah, I like that. That is a good wiping performance.
Are you going to attempt it?
Or the rear one. Let's see if I can find out how to do it. I think it's this one. Oh, there we go. That's a little dainty, isn't it? Yeah, maybe not the best performance there. But yeah, we're bimbling along in second gear. It behaves quite nicely. Let's go and see what she's like out on the open road. Yeah, you can get a reasonable shift on, but that's not refined at all, is it? It rather reminds me of school days, or not technically the school days, the holidays, when I would go out in my aunt's escort van with her on delivery trips, and the noise of the diesel engine would kind of echo around the back of the van. It's kind of like that, and that's not good for something that was made only 13 years ago. But of course it's a Volkswagen engine, so it's very good, lots of low down torque. There's some more vibration going on. We're at 2000 revs, which a diesel, that should be nothing to a diesel. Into 6th gear, and yeah, it's pretty decent. Road manners, quietens down quite nicely as the speed builds up. And yeah, it's just a shame the engine noise does kind of dominate. The ride is a bit jiggly at times, a bit crashy. but that could just be because it's done 151,000 miles. On the plus side, if you're cruising down a motorway, I reckon it would be lovely. Just pop it into 6, set the cruise, and away you go. Unfortunately, we do not have any motorways around here at all. Oh yeah, the MVH is not very good. It's just all a bit rough and ready, and while the stereo is absolutely fantastic, we gave that a bit of a test on the way to our video shoot. The owner is quite right, but what it actually tends to do is just vibrate all of the interior plastics. There is a goodly amount of bass on offer. But I guess if you're promoting your sound system as perfect for parties, you need some decent tunage going on. But sadly, you do also need the interior build quality to not embarrass yourself once you turn the volume up a bit. I think maybe someone at Jeep went, oh, Volkswagen, they make a good diesel engine. But hadn't realised how much Volkswagen put into their engine mounts and stuff. But the relationship between DaimlerChrysler and Mitsubishi soon soured. In fact, it kind of soured before these even came to market. And they hastily pulled apart from each other. Chrysler, and therefore Jeep, is now part of Stellantis, which means it's the same company as Peugeot and Citroën. Which is amusing because this shares its platform with the Mitsubishi Outlander, which was also available as a Peugeot or a Citroën. To my knowledge, the only Citroën ever made in Japan.
Oh goody, weak bridge.
Yep, here we go.
Oh
bit of exploring. Whee! There we go, across the Rydal River. So this is like on-road green laning. But it's going to get very steep. We're going to need plenty of torque. I don't think we're going to require the four-wheel drive system, sadly.
Well,
it's not that extreme.
We're on the valley route.
Oh.
Oh.
That's a big lorry to be coming down here.
Oh my God, he's going over that bridge.
Yeah, he can't. That's a 3-ton bridge. Well, that was unexpected. Put some lights on, it's so dark under here. Oh yes, it would be better to be not going uphill so I don't have to listen to the engine. But look, we can go anywhere a Ford Fiesta can go, so you know, good times. Oh yeah, it really does gather pace. Very nice. Excellent spread of torque. I can see why the stereo is so loud now. It's just to drown out the engine.
I don't think it's offensive.
There we go, slalom. Oi, oh, she feels a bit top heavy. Here we go, this bend has kind of got a bump on it and a rather nasty camber change as well. Oh, that felt pretty good. Some cars just feel awful over that. Yeah, 2,000 revs at about 60 miles an hour is nice and relaxing. That's going to help the economy. The average economy when we picked this up was 42 mpg. It's already dropped to 40, sorry. But we are mostly driving uphill. And I still think over 40 mpg for something this big, and you know, it's fairly hefty as well. That is not bad at all. Unsuitable for HGVs. This looks like the perfect road to take. Feel nice and adventurous. Just ignore the transit van, that's even more adventurous than we are. Now I'm going to show you one of the least level crossings in the world. Right, here we go, plunging into the Rydal Valley because we are so lifestyle. Yeah, this is the least level crossing
It's hard to
in
catch
the
it on
world.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, some nice extreme on-roading there, which is probably what this is built for, to be honest. I will say, we actually reversed back up to get that shot twice, and the gearing is not low enough really for really steep stuff like that, which is kind of what SUVs are meant to be about. And also the turning circle is apparently not very good. No, more. I think that's what you need really around here.
Panda 4x4.
Panda 4x4 cross. Grr. It's angry. Yeah, I can't say it's the best car I've ever driven, but nor would I say it's the worst one. It is actually perfectly competent. It's just some issues around noise, vibration and harshness, really. It just isn't as smooth as I think it should be, especially given it's got a world-renowned diesel engine up front. You know, I've driven Volkswagens and Skodas with this engine and they are a lot smoother and a lot more refined. It's just sound deadening. There isn't any. So there we go. That is the really pretty much okay Jeep Patriot. And if that's not the sort of road test you come to this channel for, then I don't know why you're here, frankly. I don't love it, but I certainly don't hate it. It's, you know, a decent family wagon. It's just a refinement for me. My passenger disagrees entirely. But, you know, got ice cold air conditioning. You got four-wheel drive if you actually need it, but you haven't really got the ground clearance to go chomping through proper countryside. We can't have been that far off the limits of what it'd break over. But yeah, it's my first time driving one, and I'm glad I have driven one. It's an interesting vehicle from a very interesting time in Chrysler's history. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget you can head to the Hubnut store if you wish to buy lovely merchandise, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell. Keep. SUV bandwagon, rivals things like the Freelander, and I've forgotten all the other SUVs in the world. Great. So let's have a look. Let's find out how to open it. Oh, there's the catch. How do you release it? Hello.